in this video I'll be showing you how to create this folio out of 3 sheets of paper. So I want to invite you to come and have some fun with playing with paper and using your intuition really to build these things as you go and just see what works for you and play. This is what we're all about in this video. So come and play. So on the front we've got 2 pockets. We've got this card here that also acts as a closure for the folio. So when you pull this out, you can open your folio, and obviously you've got this card here that's a writing space. You can open your folio, and inside we've got 2 pockets. We've got an extra little folio inside, and on the back here we've got this larger pocket with this large journaling card inside. Now, the idea behind this video is I want to show you how you can create your own folios without using kits. There's no measuring involved here, so you're able to take, for instance, the principles of making these pockets with the tabs on the back and translating that into other areas. Similarly wise, making this single sheet folded folio and carrying that idea on to this little extra folio inside. So for this folio I've got a piece of paper, it's 160 gram, and I've reverse printed it. This is from my pretty vintage paper collection. I've got a few pretty vintage themed things, and this is one of them. I think they're really lovely. So I've got one of the more pattern papers reverse printed with a quieter piece of paper, and I'm going to begin. I'm not measuring, as far as possible I won't be measuring. I'm going to fold myself over a little section like this, lining up my edges so I know it's nice and straight, and then I'm going to get my thumb cutter, my little circle punch, which is mine is 1.5 inches, and it works really nicely for me. And I'm going to keep this the full length of the piece of paper. I could trim it down so it's a little bit shorter, and you might like to do that if you want to fit that inside a journal as a little addition. And I'm just going to eyeball that and cut myself out a little thumb cut about halfway. And I'm going to ink up this edge as well, just to give me a little bit of definition. Oh gosh, I love that ink. This one is Walnut. Vintage Photo is another one, a good one. This one's a little bit darker than Vintage Photo, so I find I have to labour a little bit less over it. Now this I'm going to apply some glue, which is all the way over here. And I'm going to glue this pocket down. I can see where my fold is, so I'm just going to run a little seam. I'm going to be a little bit generous with this seam. It doesn't need to be completely narrow because I've got quite a generous pocket here, and I'm going to stick this down. I often and usually let the glue go tacky so that I've got an instant grab, but I'm not going to do that here because I want to crack on. So I'm going to get some bulldog clips amongst it so that I can keep going. And then I am going to fold this folio over like this, allowing myself a little bit left over, and make myself another fold. This one here is going to fold over the top, but before I do that I wanted to just show you the way that I might go about making this a nice little scalloped edge. So first off, I've got myself a scrap of paper, and I'm going to measure off the length of my folio like this, and then I'm going to fold that in half up to my edge. This isn't a straight line, but that's okay, it doesn't need to be. If I fold this the other way, I've got a plainer space. Where's my line? There we go. I've got a plainer space to be able to draw myself quite a little shape, and I'm just going to go a nice fluid sweeping line, not too deep, but you can see that that's there. And then I'm going to cut this out. I don't want to fold my folio in half which is why I'm making this shape on a scrap of paper. Doesn't matter if I don't follow my own line precisely. If your hand isn't very steady, you can make your sketch line however you make it, and then just smooth that out with your scissors when you come to cut it. And I can either use this piece, or I can use this negative shape to draw out my folio. So I can line it up. I'm just concerned with just getting this tip just on there. I don't want to lose any more paper than I have to, any more card than I have to. Line it up and hope that it's straight. You may know by now that I'm a little bit gung-ho with my things, but I'm very happy with that because it gives me much more freedom. And then you might want to use a pencil. I'm using a pen here just so that you can see my line. I'm just going to trace off that shape there, and there it is. That's the shape that I'm going to be following now with my scissors. If you want to cut a little bit inside that line so that you lose it, you can obviously do that. I'm not bothered because I'm going to be inking. And then just cut your shape. This is a nice little shape. It's my little kind of go-to shape. This rounded at the edges, going up into a little point in the middle. You can do a curve, you can experiment with all sorts of different things. And what I would suggest is you make a few shapes in paper, see what you like, and then go with that. Right, I wonder if I can take these off now. Let's give that a go, shall we? And then I'm just going to fold this page over. Not going to commit to this fold too soon. I'm kind of pushing this way and holding this down so that I know that I'm meeting that fold quite nicely. And there we go. That's the basis of our little folio. And you'll see when I come to ink this up, to give this a little bit of definition and also to lose any inky line that I might have when I traced over my template. There we go. There's my little folio, and you can have that either way around. For me, it works well this way. I like that. And then we open that, and there is our little folio with our long pocket. And that's as simple as that is. We've made the basis of our pocket. I've got some more inking to do, obviously. And now I'm going to make some pockets. And I've got another sheet of paper here from the same kit. And again, I've reverse printed with a plainer, lighter page, and I think I'm going to use this page to make my pockets with here. And I'm going to make myself 2 pockets, and again I'm not going to be measuring with a ruler. I find that I don't like doing that wherever possible. So between these 2 folds, which I appreciate you may not be able to see so clearly on the video, let's get a bone folder on there and just make those creases really nice and sharp. Looking great, looking great. There we are. Right, so I'm going to measure off now. I'm going to just make a couple of pockets. They may be different. I'm going to use, so you can have a look and see which side you'd like that. I like that. So with the reverse, just so that I'm not inking on the front if I don't have to, I'm just going to mark off between these 2 folds here, and I'm going to mark off this bottom space here, and then I'm going to trim that down. I'm going to do that off camera because my big paper trimmer is over there. Back in a moment. So here we are. As luck would have it, the width of my paper and where I'd drawn my mark was pretty much halfway, so I was able to get 2 pockets out of that little strip. They're slightly narrower than my fold there, which is grand. So I can pop one there and I can pop one there. So I'll make my little thumb cuts, which I love to do for the aesthetic, and also they're really quite handy when you're putting stuff in and taking it out. Quite useful and pretty. And I'm inking all the way around my pockets. Now obviously these are flat pockets. They haven't got any tabs on them. But we can have a look at that in a moment. Does it matter which way up that goes? Not really, I can do what I like. And what I'm about here, obviously, is you will likely have no end of printable kits in your digital stash. And you do get a lot of prescriptive. I make them. I make folios out of kits and sell those as individual items, and that's great. But I wanted to give you this kind of overview. So you've got packs of digital papers, you've got your own papers that are already sort of printed that you've bought, so you can make your own folios quite easily like that. So there are those pockets. Let's have a look at making a couple of pockets that have got tabs on them, because obviously when you've got these glued down like that, you don't have a lot of room for much ephemera. You can get a couple of pieces in, but you're not going to get a lot in. So what I would do here is maybe make a template, just my square little bit of paper like that I know is the right size. I'm going to go on to the reverse of one of these pages. Let's have a look. So I've already done this because the camera died on me, but we're back. So what I would do here is make myself a little template. You can measure if you want to, no hardships there. This is my preferred method. And then I would draw around my little template like this and give myself a border all the way around and then trim this down. I might as well do this with a pair of scissors while I'm here, because it doesn't matter if these aren't quite straight, because you're not going to be seeing them. There. And then I will get my scoring board, because we want some accuracy here. We need to know everything's lining up properly. It's nice and square. So I can put that on there. I can make score marks on the actual inside lines, the size of my template, like this. And then I can come along with my scissors. I'm going to cut myself an angled piece there, cut myself an angle there. You can go straight across that corner and then up here at the top. And here, fold in your little tabs. Make your thumb cut, if that's your jam. In the middle, you can ink that top edge if you want to. You can ink all the edges if you want to. I'm going to go with the top edge on this one, I think. And then you're good to go. You need to make sure that you just come just inside these two fold lines maximum, because you need this to be able to close nicely. You don't want this pocket interfering with the ability of the folio to close. And then we'll glue, 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 glue. I'm going to let this go tacky first, just give it a minute so I get some kind of instant grab there. Right, I'll leave that for a moment. Here we are then, my glue is tacky, and whilst that was going tacky, I've cut myself another pocket in exactly the same way, using the template that I made for the top there. So this can now glue on in between these two folds. On the bottom, you can go right up to the edge if you like, this bottom edge, or you can allow a little bit of a border, that's up to you. I'm going right up to the edge because I like that thickness, that extra sturdiness right along the bottom edge there. Here's my top one, and I want to decide where I want to put that. I don't want to put it too high up because I need to get ephemera in there. So I'm going to come down here, and this one looks to be a little bit narrower. I don't quite know how I've managed that, but I have. But that's absolutely fantastic. It looks nice. There we go, and I can stick that in place, preferably straight. And And there's my little folio. Now I want to decorate this somehow and add a little bit more to it. There's your basic folio. You can pop yourself even a folded piece of full paper in there. You can make another little folio to go in there. You've got your pockets here for ephemera, and I want to figure out how I can close this. Obviously you've always got the option of wrapping with some pretty ribbon. Wrap a couple of times. It looks really, really nice. This one I thought actually I was going to do this with it, and I've got quite a clever idea here, my loves, and it's just an option, it's just an idea, one way of dealing with the job of keeping this thing closed. Of course you don't have to do anything. If you've got this inside a journal, obviously if you've got it inside a journal you need to cut it down a little bit to start with, but if you've got it inside a journal it'll learn how to behave, but just by being squished all the time. But this one I wanted to do something a little bit different to show you, and I've got this little pocket here that I cut to show you how to put a flat pocket down before I made a template there. So I'm going to pop that one down like that. I'm going to let that dry. Whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I thought I might have a look at putting a little bit of decoration on here. I feel it needs a little bit more, and also I want to stick this pocket, which was the other flat pocket we made first of all, on the back here at the bottom. Really just to make this folio have lots of interest on all sides. So I've got room here now for a nice big tall thin journaling card, or even a folded piece of paper, but I would go for one nice flat one in there. Would work very, very nicely and not be too intrusive or flap about. So there's that on there. And here, because I've got this piece of paper here and I like using things up, I'm going to make another little pocket. I'm going to go with this edge. It's got a nice pretty edge. So I'm going to mark off the length here, and then I'm going to mark off myself another pocket, and I'm going to make that come to about here, I think. So I'll go and trim this little space out here. And as you can see, I'm just playing now. I'm just playing with layering up these shapes and adding a little bit more and a little bit more. And what I've done here is I've made myself another pocket, a little tiny skinny pocket. I'm just going to give it a little tiny skinny thumb cut. If you're not sure how deep to make your thumb cut, make it shallow. You can go back in and you can make it deeper if you want to. But obviously you can't do that the other way around. And I think I'll go all the way around here to define it. There we go. And put some glue on the 3 edges that I want to close and leave the thumb cut edge open. And pop this in place. There, that looks really nice. So I've got more options again if I want to decorate this with lace or fussies or whatever I might think I want to do, but I'm going to leave that like that. I've got my pocket at the back, I've got my 2 pockets inside and my long pocket. Okay, what I'm going to do here is make a closure for this folio that's also a tag, and I might as well go for a folded one. So that I've got a little bit more kind of writing space, a little bit more interest in there. So my pocket, so I'm going to go from about here, bearing in mind that I've got my glue margins under there and I want to give myself a nice little bit of room. I'm going to make myself a whole strip that's this long. I'm going to trim that down and I'll come right back. So here's my piece of card that I've just trimmed down, that's going to hopefully fit inside this pocket just nicely. If it doesn't, I can trim it down a little bit more. That's fine. My glue isn't completely wet, isn't completely dry rather. So this piece here, I'm going to fold in half like this. And I'm also going to get my folder rounder, my corner rounderer in there, just because I like that shape. Go on, there you go. And I'll give this a little bit of ink as well, I think. if you want to as well, you could go in with these pockets, not make the thumb cut. If you didn't want to, you could go in and use this technique with folding and making yourself a little template, so you've got a nice interesting pocket edge. That's another option for you. So this is my card. I've now got an opening card. That's it. That's a nice journaling space there. If I close my lid, my lid, and pop this journaling card in this rear pocket, I've also got a closure there now as well. So I've got some paper left over. I'm going to make a nice big journaling card for this back pocket here. So I've just marked off this section here. I'm bearing in mind that I've got some glue margins around there. I don't want to go right up to the edges of those, so I'll trim this down. So this is this piece here. I can ink, I can shape that edge if I want to, but for the sake of the video, just the basic construction, I'm popping this in here. If you made this a little bit narrower, you could double up. Obviously, I'm quite tight up against my glue margins here, so it's not going to allow me to get an awful lot in there. But that's that. Now I've got this sheet left. What have I used? I've used 3 pieces of paper, haven't I? Let's use them all up to construct as much as we can and make this folio as interesting and full as we can. I've got my big pocket here. Let's have a look at what I can do. I could make a nice big folding card out of this. So I'll measure off. This I know can go right up to the edge. We've got no glue against that edge. So where's my fold? There's my fold. I'm going to measure off here. I don't want things getting too close to my fold. And then I'm going to fold this in half along that line there. So let's score it. Fold this in half. Now I was going to cut this section off actually. And just have an opening card, but I don't see why we should, do you? I think we can get another little pocket or something out of this. Now I could either have this on the outside and have it, obviously I need to trim this down yet. I'll go and do that actually, why not? Why not? So allowing for my glue margins and a little bit more. If we've got a bit more wiggle room, it means we can get a little bit more stuff in there. There we are. So this is my last little bit of these 3 sheets of paper. I've trimmed it down quite generously, as you can see, and the more I trim it down, the more room I've got for bulk in there. Because even though I was just going to make this as an opening card, I add that extra little flap of paper at the end, and I see no reason to cut that off or waste it. So that can be just as it is. It can be a little closure like that, but obviously me being me wants to make a pocket out of it because I do love a pocket. I like cramming that writing space in there. So again, another thumb cut because I love those things. And just as we did when we began to make the other folio, we're now beginning to construct another folio, a folio within a folio. You could keep going like that. So a little glue on these 2 short edges here, fold that over. I'd normally let my glue go tacky, but I'll bob some bulldog clips on there. Now, I'm not going to go any further with this video. You get the idea. This I would then maybe put a couple of journaling cards in there or another folding card. You could put a pocket on there. You don't want to go too thick with this. Because you need to be able to get everything in there when you're done. And there we are, my loves. There we are. You've got your folio with your opening card tag in there, which also acts as your closure. You've got another little pocket there. You've got your pocket on the back with your large journaling card. And obviously this is just an illustration. This is just an example. Go to town with your decoration for these. By all means, this could be a double card, an opening card. And then inside you've got space for bits of ephemera. You might like to make some tags that you decorate to go in here. You've got the depth here because you've got these little tabs on the back of these pockets, so you can get a bit more in. And then this one here, you've got, I'm going to risk it, even though I know that's not dry, you've got this lovely long pocket here that you can put another little journal, another little folio in, or you can use to pop little bits of ephemera and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope if you didn't have it before, you now have some confidence and some freedom to go ahead and just play with bits of paper. If you're not confident and you don't want to use your nice printables, practice on scrap. Just practice on some plain finish card and mess around with a few ideas. Have fun with it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.